Did you talk to them?
Yes, so they were going back down the floor.
Yeah,
We're gonna get together, so.
They wanted to have dinner.
Yep. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the regular City Commission meeting of Tuesday, March 3rd. I would like to call the meeting to order and ask all of you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call. Mayor Pro Tem.
Present?
Commissioner Jenks.
Present.
Commissioner Olsman.
Present.
Commissioner Elder is on her way from the airport and should be joining us in about 20 minutes. But she was originally excused from the meeting, but arrived early, so she's going to try and make the meeting. And I am present. Approval of the agenda.
With no change.
Do we have a motion to approve the agenda? There is one addition. After the proclamation, we're going to add a report from the Huntington Woods Teen Council from Ellen or Daniel.
Mr. Mayor, I'll move that we approve this evening's agenda with the addition of a team council update before the proclamation.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of the consent agenda. We have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to add a correction on the regular meeting.
If you want to make any changes, you have to
to
ask
remove
for it
it.
to be
I'd
removed.
like to ask that the regular meeting minutes of February 4th be removed.
I don't need a motion for that, right? Anyone can ask for them?
Yeah, they just asked, and then it's gonna be moved down as an item of business, so it would become, I guess, item number 7.
Okay. All right. So now we have a motion to approve the rest of the consent agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. County Commissioner is not here. So we'll move on to public participation. Now is the opportunity for the public to make a comment on an item that is not on the agenda. Please come forward to the podium.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Jay Schwartz, 55-year resident of the Woods. I come forward tonight, and I've got to say, I am not acting upon perfect information in my following questions here, because I've been extremely busy with some very high priority personal business. With regard to the purchase of exercise equipment at the Reynolds Park Renew, my question is, do we have data in the process of approving that says not I want this equipment, but I will use it? Do we have any data that supports an age breakdown or a distance that persons would have to drive? And if we don't, and if we do have that data, excuse me, if we do have it, what is the age of that data? Is it 6 months old, a year, 2 months? So I would inquire that, does that data exist? If it does, and it's automatically, well, let me ask this, does that data exist, that kind of breakdown of data? If it does?
We usually just take comments, but I'm happy to reach out to you tomorrow and have a discussion with you to answer your question.
Okay, very good. And the reason I bring this forth is because this is has turned into such a contentious issue in the community that if that data does exist, then it would aid in making an appropriate decision, a final decision, because the Recreation Board and everybody else, they are recommenders. You are the final approving authority. You are the approving authority, and it would aid, I believe, if that data was very clearly presented and brought forth in the decision process of, are we making a really good informed decision, or are we acting on the basis of well, if we build it, they will come, or an emotional, or someone who's just speaking the loudest. So that is my concern regarding that. Other than the equipment, which is the contentious point here, I rise in support of the general renovation of the park. That was item 1. Next item. This past week, there was a student survey regarding seniors, sponsored by the university, of what seniors would like to see or what we should be aiming for. I participated in that, and I found the process lacking. I found several of their questions and the way they were going about it to be questionable and lacking. There were some choices. For instance, one student said, give various categories, I want to see this, I really would like it, but he didn't have an outright no. So how could someone express in there, no, I don't really want this? There were other cases where a person expressed, said, how much would you be willing to pay for senior housing? But it didn't have a breakdown of what it gave numbers, said, 0 to 1,000, 1,000 to 2,000, 2,000, 3,000, something like that. But it didn't encompass what that incorporates, what you're getting for that expenditure. Therefore, just for somebody to interpret that and say, oh yeah, I've got a survey here that says somebody was willing to spend $2,500 a month on what? Lacking specificity. There were other similar flaws with the students' efforts there. I have expressed them to the students. I expressed them to the faculty advisor who was here. I believe they were honestly and sincerely received. My concern in bringing it forth here is that when they publish their report, that we do not use that report as gospel, as, well, we've got this study, we should do this. No, the study is flawed. We can discuss it further in detail offline. Its value at this point, I believe, is as a starting point, and only just that, a starting point for future discussion on the subject. Anything else is not valid and should not be used to make any sort of public policies decisions. Thank you.
Jay, can you write your phone number down? I'm not sure I have it in my Rolodex.
Roger that.
Thank you. Any other public comment? All right. Seeing none. Okay. Sorry.
I'm Bonnie Nowakowski, and I've lived here for about 40 years. I'm sorry, can I get your name? It's Bonnie Nowakowski. And it is known that the number of people that are older is increasing in the city. We really do not require that children prove how many times they're going to go down the slide, or how often the park will be used, or how much money we're going to spend to renovate the parks. And I'm happy to say that I've spent my taxes to get these parks up to date and very nice for the kids, and I'm really happy about it. But I would like to see some exercise equipment devoted to my particular age group, or anyone actually that's over the age of 14. I've been to 5 different places that are now incorporating exercise equipment for adults. 1 in Illinois and 4 around here. 2 different companies that I have looked at produce equipment that was used by the 2 places. One has been selected for here for the proposal. It's mounted in a concrete base. The equipment itself has a couple pieces that are accessible for people in wheelchairs or have disability issues. You have this big concrete base, though, so it does take up a ton of space. It limits, maybe the places that you could put it. The other company mounts the equipment in the ground. There's no concrete base except for where there might be a wheelchair. And that's what they've used in Birmingham. That's what they've used in Hazel Park. I don't know why the different companies chose things. Detroit has used the Greenfields company that is the one that we've been looking at for here. So there's been a lot of discussion. The meeting on Tuesday was quite uproarious with people for and against this. The people with children were very worried that Reynolds Park was dangerous for their kids. The soccer people wanted to use it because they've always used it and they like it, and it's close for them. We have limited places in Huntington Woods for major equipment of any kind. It's a small town. And almost every park that we have is well designed for children's equipment. I think there are just a few where there really isn't much of anything. Scotia Park, Triangle Park, which I just learned the name of, a little park that's just north of Pickleball Court. Is that Pickleball Court Park on 11 Mile, and Statue Park. And I think as far as parks go, those are probably the only ones that don't really have any intermingling between children and adults. You would think that having a park where adults and children could interact would be a good thing, because everybody would become familiar with each other and we would have more of a sense of community and this feeling of responsibility for each other, because it's such a small town. But it seems like it's had exactly the opposite effect, and people are in a huge uproar, feeling that what they want and how they've used it is being torn away from them for this nebulous group of people that they don't know exist. And that's the problem that I have as an older adult, that I feel invisible, and that when I'm asking, or people my age are asking for some accommodation for them, where is it? The room that we had at the library that was an adult reading room got taken away for the children. It was a nice room. I understand the men's club funded part of that building some years ago. In the time that I've lived here, I voted to build the rec center, to build the pool, to get these parks furnished, to put the kids' equipment in there. I don't even have any children. But I'm glad to see it, because I think we need to have things like this. Our ideal request would be that there be some equipment in the rec center. But it seems that all the rooms that are in the rec center are either devoted toward children's activities, some clubs that use a few of the rooms. And what few spaces there are where it could be used, it seems there's a no on that. So I really don't know what our choices really are. Reynolds Park was chosen as the place to put the equipment. And initially it seemed like this would be a great idea, because there's parking there, there's porta potty and all that kind of thing. But the soccer people were truly upset. And the mothers were worried because they thought their kids were going to get injured on equipment. So I don't want to say I have the answer. I don't have the answer, but I want to be accommodated in some kind of way. I think it's only fair, and I hate to think how much money I've spent on this city making it nice for everybody else. I want them to make it nice for me too.
Thank you.
Gail Linden. I'm a resident of Huntington Woods since 1957. We'll just leave it at that. Don't need to count the years. I was raised here as a child. I bought my first house in Huntington Woods, my second house in Huntington Woods, and my line about Huntington Woods is you can take Huntington Woods out of the girl, but you can't take the girl out of Huntington Woods. And many of us living here in Huntington Woods have lived here that kind of time, and we've raised our families. We've become empty nesters, and many of us, in fact, can't necessarily afford to leave the houses that we're in right now, because we have Headley and Proposal A that have locked our taxes for us and have kept us in our houses at lower tax rates than moving to a smaller house with a higher tax base, and that somebody else could appreciate and enjoy our house. But, you know, we stay there because it's something that's available to us that becomes affordable. As Bonnie nicely stated, the seniors are a very large part of Huntington Woods, and we aren't leaving, and we have very little accommodations for us. It's not a matter of families versus adults or seniors or youth versus age. It's a matter of living together in a community and having something that all of us can use. The senior equipment is not an overnight decision or an overnight request. It's been going on for more than 2 years with small groups of seniors going around and looking at equipment, both here in in the area and also out of state, about going to the senior advisory board, about going to the rec board. It's not something that all of a sudden was a one-day decision. And various equipments were submitted, as Bonnie stated, to the recreation department, and the recreation department picked up what type of equipment they wanted to purchase, and additionally how it was going to be mounted and where it was going to be mounted. The proposal was submitted to both recreation department, to the senior advisory, and to the commissioners without real input from us. And it did upset some of the residents of the woods regarding the soccer area, or that the children might climb on that. There has been a revised plan for Reynolds Park, moving the equipment to the far east end of the park. Nothing could be further for a senior citizen, and many of us are quite able to do it, and others are not, and they're here with walkers or wheelchairs or whatever else, to roll all the way down to the far end of the park, past the kids' equipment, and to get on the equipment that's pushed up against the fence and in close proximity to the children's equipment. One person even said at the Parks and Recreation area meeting that maybe our equipment should be fenced in so that the children don't climb on it. It's like, just shove us in a corner and put it there. Additionally, arborvitae are designed to try to give some kind of, shield. They're going to grow in. Wherever it might be is your choice as to doing it. But the concern is at that location, it's not a good choice for either party. I'm sorry to think that the football or the soccer area might be compromised for their practicing there. The Parks Department did a beautiful job of renovating Peasley Park. Peasley Park is a very large park. It has children's equipment at one end, and whereas it might need some more work with the sod and everything else from the contractors, there's a big running area over there that soccer could be practiced at or whatever. The decision is yours as to where you put it. But I hope that you will find that you will put it in a park that's accessible for seniors and that they can use it and enjoy it and not make it a difficult time to get there. One of the things that was also designed in the plan was some shade area, and I think that that's of consideration when you're out there exercising. We meet on a weekly basis, those that attend to the rec department, to the rec center on Sunday. Sometimes we outgrow our room that only has a fire capacity of 17 and are moved to another location so that larger groups can come. I think you will find we will use the equipment where it goes, but please consider carefully where you place it so that those people that it's designed for, and it's not just seniors, the equipment is 14 years and older, can take advantage of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Mark Novakowski. I live on Talbot. I'm Bonnie's husband. And I just want to reinforce what has been said by Bonnie and the other speaker. Sorry, I have Huntington's disease, which makes it difficult for me to organize my thoughts. But I'm planning living in the woods for as long as I'm able. And it's nice to be able to have a park to go to. I'm still able to ambulate. And one thing that needs to be considered is sun exposure. It's not good for anybody to get too much sun exposure, and this is especially true for seniors. So when the original plan for Reynolds Park had the sail over it, I thought that was a good thing. That would have encouraged people to use it. I don't know what the other outdoor alternatives would be that would work very well, but I'd honestly prefer the indoor equipment, but that's realistically not going to happen. So, anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Joanne Callio. I live on Hart. I've been in Huntington Woods since 1956. And what I like about the city is the sense of community. So, and I like soccer. I'm not involved in the soccer thing, but I appreciate what the younger people have to offer, what the seniors have to offer. And thinking about the exercise, I definitely would use it. But I've been walking around the city looking at the different parks, and one of the things that I would ask that you might consider is what I call the pickleball park, because a lot of the seniors already play pickleball. There's no young kid equipment there, so the moms that were worried that the kids would potentially climb on the equipment and fall on their heads, that wouldn't be an issue. But younger people play tennis. It's kind of a fitness park already, so that might be an alternate option. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Seeing none, public participation is closed. We do thank you for all your comments. Moving on, we have a proclamation this evening. This is a proclamation of the City of Huntington Woods declaring April 2020 to be Child Abuse Prevention and Awareness Month in Huntington Woods. Whereas abuse and neglect are suffered by children in our communities, regardless of age, race, gender, and economic situation. And whereas 1 in 10 children will be sexually abused before the age of 18. And whereas this reported maltreatment is only a portion of the overall problem threatening our children, for so many cases go unreported, and today's technology has brought with it a new and dangerous form of child endangerment, the online predator. And whereas the devastating consequences of physical and emotional abuse of our children affects the community as a whole, and finding solutions needs to be attended to by our community as a whole. Whereas Care House of Oakland County works to break the cycle of child abuse and neglect, provides a protective circle of light and hope for a better life, advocates for the safety and protection of children, and partners with community organizations and agencies to offer programs and services aimed at preventing child abuse. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Commission of the City of Huntington Woods do hereby proclaim April 2020 as Child Abuse Prevention and Awareness Month in the City of Huntington Woods, and call on all citizens, community agencies, organizations, and businesses to increase their participation in efforts to prevent the abuse of children, thereby strengthening and protecting the community which we live. Proclaim this 3rd day of March, 2020. And we have Eleanor Daniel with us this evening to give us an update on the Huntington Woods Teen Council. Thanks for coming this evening.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. I would like to start by apologizing for not coming earlier in the year and updating you sooner. It's been quite the year, so nevertheless, I would like to publicly thank the Men's Club for helping us out in multiple ways. They sent us to the Youth Symposium this year, which is a leadership conference we attend each year, and they have been funding us for as long as I've been in the Teen Council. So thank you, Men's Club, and anyone who's in the Men's Club here. That being said, we are also excited to help them out at the Men's Club auction. And a few things that we have coming up. We have a Teen Years Bingo Night on March 26th, where some of our teens have volunteered to go and play bingo with some Huntington Woods seniors, and we always have a great time. We love the relationship that we have built with these seniors who attend our events, such as Teen Years Pickleball, and we have Teen Years Bingo, so we've really tried to think about new ideas that we could merge our age groups in the past year. That's been something that I've really wanted to do with my council. Another thing that we have is a trip to Zap Zone on March 20th. We haven't done a trip like this in a while, so we thought, let's get everyone out there and let's do something fun. So we have that coming up. Something big that the Teen Council really endorses is summer LIT in JC, so Leader in Training and Junior Counselors with Fruit Camp. Those applications are due at the Rec Center by April 23rd at 8:45 p.m. Teens need to pick up the application themselves and turn them in themselves. we really push that independency, and any questions they may have should be asked by them and not their parents. So we really advocate for that independency. Another thing we'd like to mention is that we also have these things called restaurant nights, and we had one recently to Crispelli's, and it went very well. We like to do those because they are a great way to just have the community come out and see each other while also helping us. And I would also like to thank Commissioner Jenks for your donation, even though you weren't able to make it. It really helped us. We were able to do an activity after our meeting, and it was thanks to you. So thank you for that. Also, we had something that we tried out this year. We tried out a grant, and we took $150 out of our fund, and we put it towards a Berkeley High School club, and clubs came and presented to us about why they need this grant and what they do as a club, and we chose, and we ended up giving it to a club that helps send health supplies over to Africa and third world countries. So they used that money for shipping fees and other things like that, so like boxes and stuff. So we were very happy to help them, and we hope to do that again next year. Also, we had our organizational chair, Alexa Filko, at the new residence reception. She got a lot of feedback, and she really enjoyed talking with everybody. And so we are trying to take that feedback into account and applying it. So yeah, that's kind of what the teen council has been up to. We thank you guys for your support, and we hope to talk again at the next meeting. So thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you guys have any questions? No? All right.
I think you're off the hook. Thank you very much for coming and updating us, though. What first item is, what business do you want? I'm confused.
The capital improvement bonds is the next item of business. It's been marked as agenda item number 3, so you'll have to
In your packet.
pull that out of your
mark this
packet.
Item number 3. Matter of consideration to authorize the 2020 capital improvement bonds, limited tax general obligation.
This is the resolution that's necessary to sell the bonds for 2 projects. One is the sewer repair project. The fee is going to go on the water bills to pay the principal and interest on that bond. And the other bond would be for road improvements that the village is approved next week. So this is set up, you need to pass the authorizing resolution, but it doesn't commit you to selling the bonds. That would be something that we would do once we know what the millage results are. And we have Jeff Aronoff from Miller Canfield is here if you have any questions on the process or the procedure with the bond resolution.
We have a motion to approve the authorization.
Mr. Mayor, I'll move that we approve the bond authorizing resolution as presented by our bond counsel, and authorize the city manager and finance director to make certain final determinations and take the necessary steps to proceed with the sale of the bonds subject to the parameters set forth in the resolution.
Seconded.
Any public comment? Comments or questions from the commission? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2 is actually marked item number 1 in your agenda. Right, or in your packet.
The packet. This is the authorization to begin to levy the fee on the water bills. Normally, we would take care of that when the water rate is adopted as part of the budget process, and that is done in May. We are going to start collecting it in April, though, so we need a resolution authorizing the city to start collecting the fee in April, and then it'll come back to you again as part of the water rate resolution with the May budget.
We have a motion to approve.
Seconded.
Any public comment?
Claire Galed on LaSalle. I have basically 3 questions to ask for your consideration and perhaps answers. Have you taken into account, as you set this amount, a potential drop in water usage? Because if there is a drop in water usage, and we know that when water rates go up, there is a drop in water usage, and of course, anytime somebody gets a new appliance, it also brings down the water usage. And what you'll do if this falls short, and where the excess money will come from, because you will have to pay the bond. That's one question. Also, if the water rate goes up, you may see a substantial increase in the number of people who do not pay their bill on time, which, although you get the money eventually, will have an impact on the flow of your resources to pay your ongoing expenses. So I ask you to really consider that, because I think you will see, when I started working for the city, we had 6 or 7 people who didn't pay their bills. Last year, I believe it was 1.5 pages or almost 2 pages of people who did not pay their bills on time, and it went on to their taxes. Also, does the commission have an idea of what the additional increase will be when it comes to the budget? Because this is to pay the bond. There will probably be an increase in water cost, among other things. And I was wondering if the commission has looked into what the additional cost will be beyond this 18%. Is it going to be another 2%, another 2.5%, another 3%? Because that also will increase people's water bills. And I would again urge the commission, we talk about the fee, you talk about the fee, that we look at not the payment of this bond, because we have to pay it from a usage fee, but that the other part, the part that maintains our system, that we look at a larger fixed rate than $17 for the maintenance of the system, not to pay this bond issue, maintenance of the system, so that the cost of running our system and having water available is more equitably spread out to all the residents of Huntington Woods, and doesn't exclude, to a great degree, people who go away for the winter or go away for the summer and are not using water. Because right now, basically the entire burden of maintaining that system is on usage. And I don't go away for 6 weeks or 3 months, as my neighbors do. And they're not paying to have that system up and running. But when they come home, they expect to turn on the water and have water come out of their tap. So I would suggest that the commission consider all of those things as they move forward.
Thank you. Any other comments? Are there any comments or questions from the commission? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3, which is marked agenda item number 2 in your packet, is a slight change to our city commission standards and policies, just allowing the city vehicle to be used by an elected official when it is available without priority to the commission or over employees that need to use the vehicle. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Seconded.
Any public comment? Commission comments or questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
No.
Motion carries. I am going to recuse myself from agenda item number 4 because it relates to my business that I am an owner of. I'll turn the meeting over to Mayor Pro Tem Rozelle.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The next item on the agenda then is item number 4, matter of consideration to enter into a contractual agreement with Alba Masonry Stone for concrete work and paver installation at the library in the amount of $19,400, and with Genesee Cut Stone for the purchase of granite pavers in the amount of $7,770. Amy, do you want to just give a brief explanation of the item?
Yeah, this has been a long-standing problem with the library where the current covering of the steps gets water underneath it and is crumbling and deteriorating the tiles. And we've tried to fix them over and over again, and it's just not working. So what we are recommending is that the entire steps, all the concrete steps, be removed, new steps poured, and that granite be placed across the top of them so that they don't deteriorate or crumble or cause a hazard. This did take a long time because we had a really hard time finding a contractor that could do the concrete step work because it was very detailed. But we did finally get a bid from Alba Masonry Stone. We also went out for bids for the granite landings, and so the bid is before you now, and then work hopefully will be done this year, and we'll get that problem taken care of once and for all.
And the mayor did recuse himself. He is a principal at Genesee Cut Stone. Just for the record, these were sealed bids, correct?
Yes.
That were published and available for anyone to bid on.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. Questions from the public on this item? All right. You're able to?
Yeah.
Thank you.
My name's Ida Cohen. I've been a resident for about 42 years. I'm just curious, it's called pavers. Are they set in something? It's not a smooth process, is it, with pavers?
Yeah.
Hey, my experience is that there's grout or there's something in between, and it's not a one continuous surface.
I believe that they are, but I can get back with you tomorrow. I don't have the specifications with me
The
right
only
now.
thing I'd like to express is anything that's a paver that's set in grout or whatever, however it's done, I object to. I think it's a foolish method of use. Eventually they shift and they cause accidents. And I just think a paver surface is not suitable for anything in a city, liability-wise. Water accumulates after it shifts. You have other problems. But if it's not that.
I can look at the specifications and I'll call you tomorrow.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions or comments from the public? All right, seeing none, we'll close public participation. Questions or comments from any commissioners? All right, then I'll look for a motion on the item.
Let me raise a question. There were 2 bids. What were the amounts of the bids? Just so the public is aware. Alba Masonry Stone bid $9,500 for that item. Genesee Cut Stone bid approximately 20% lower at $7,770.
I don't have the bid specifications with me. That's something that Tim has, and he's in with the board of review right now. I just wanted the dollar amounts made public, that's all. And they're right here in Oh, I see what you're
bid
saying.
spec.
Yes, I thought you wanted the actual bid opening.
No,
the
no,
documents. Okay.
I'm not interested.
I'll look for a motion then on the item.
So moved.
Seconded.
All right, moved by Commissioner Olsman, seconded by Commissioner Elder. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries, and we'll note for the record that the mayor has abstained.
And the mayor can
I
come
want
back
to
in
get the
now.
mayor, and he can take
Mayor can
back control of
return.
the meeting. All right, there we go.
All right, item number 5. This is a first reading for a consideration of an ordinance to amend the City of Huntington Woods Code of Ordinances, Chapter 6, buildings. That's right, building and, it's not building and building regulations.
Buildings and building regulations.
Is it? Building and building regulations.
Buildings and buildings.
To delete Article 9, fences, walls, and hedges. The reason why is because during our adoption of the new zoning ordinance, we actually have this same wording in two different places, so we're not deleting it. We're deleting it in one place so that it's not confusing and found in two places. We have a motion.
So moved. Second.
Any public comment? Seeing none, any comments or questions from the commission? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The ordinance will be read a second time at the next meeting, and that's when it will be adopted. We have a matter of a motion to recess into closed session.
Wait, the minute.
Am I missing one? Oh,
We had, Jeff had corrections. to
I added that as 7.
Okay.
Recessing into closed session to discuss a letter subject to attorney-client privilege. We have a motion.
So moved.
Seconded.
This will require a roll call vote. Mayor Pro Tem Moselle.
Aye.
Commissioner Jenks.
Aye.
Commissioner Elder.
Aye.
Commissioner Olsman.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We will move into closed session immediately following the regular city commission. Item number 7 was an item that was removed from the consent agenda regarding the regular meeting minutes of February 14th or February 4th. Commissioner Jenks.
Yeah, in the section for proclamation, it said Mayor Paul read the proclamation recognizing Sally Kohlenberg's years of service to the Huntington Woods Library. I believe that was 40 years. That's pretty remarkable, or whatever that number was. The only thing I'm requesting is that the number of years be placed in there.
I think it was 40.
Oh, that's a pretty long time for someone to dedicate themselves to the city. That was my only concern.
Do we have a motion to approve the minutes with the 40 years added?
So moved.
Seconded.
Any public comment? Commissioner comments?
Just-
Questions?
I need to just clarify one thing. I was Sally Bing Kohlenberg's paper boy.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. City managers report.
Yes, I'd like to talk about the election that's coming up a week from today. City Hall normally is closed from 1 to 2 for lunch, but we will remain open to the next week until the election, and also open on Saturday from 8 to 4 to issue and receive any absentee ballots that are picked up or turned in, and then, of course, want everybody to vote on the 10th. And then wanted to let you know about the census. The invitations will be going out to residents March 12th, which is next week. New this year, you can respond online, or you can request a paper form, or you could phone in your answers. There are 9 questions on the census form, and we have a sample on our website, so you can see what those are ahead of time. If you don't respond by April 1st, the census will send a reminder postcard, and if you don't respond to the postcard, after a couple times, they'll actually come knock on your door in order to get the information. And a reminder for snowbirds and students, you should fill out the form where you live 51% of the year, not necessarily where you are when you receive the census. And we have additional information on our website about it, and there's a lot of information in general at census.gov if you have any questions about filling out. That's it.
Are there any questions of the city manager?
I would like, this is long as Bob is back, and we voted on that paver issue, Ina Cohen asked a question earlier about the safety of the pavers as a walk surface at the library, and she did, brought up liability, which is because of governmental immunity, is not necessarily the top of the issue, but I don't know if you heard her question, but Ms. Cohen, you want to ask that of the mayor?
Well,
Since
she wanted to know, is it one big slab or is it multiple? Because it's listed as, described as pavers, is it?
They are larger than what you would think of as a paver, however, they are also set on concrete. They're not set in sand like you see a lot of pavers. So you're not going to get the movement if that's what you're worried about in the freeze-thaw factor. They're also a lot thicker than a normal paver that helps prevent the heaving in the winter. So it was designed so that would not be an issue. If that was the question.
well, she raised a good point, and I figure as long as you're here, Ms. Cohen, does that answer your inquiry?
Is represented by him, yes.
Okay, well, I just want to make sure you got an answer here, thank you.
And Mayor, since we're not going to be making any decisions, why don't we go ahead and just adjourn the regular meeting when we're done?
Okay. All right. With that, I'll make I'd like a motion to adjourn the regular city commission meeting.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.